What is up, people? It is me, Monster58. Welcome back to another video review, and today we're going to be taking a look at the highly controversial Transformers Studio Series 86 Leader Class Astrotrain. Now, if you guys are sort of not in the know on why this figure has garnered so much controversy, it's because the first photos, that they revealed of this figure were completely mistransformed. And it's a real shame that they were, because guys, I love you, Hasbro, Mark, Sam, Evan, you guys are great. But y'all need to get some new people to do your product photos, because when you're trying to sell us things and then you have them mistransformed in the promo photos, like, that's just like a boneheaded oversight, and it's such a shame that that was the case. And then the preceding photos that released of Astrotrain did not really help his case. And I'll admit, on Twitter, I was a pretty, benefit of the doubt. If you guys know me, I'm a pretty positive reviewer. But now that I have this in hand, let's see if all of those sort of, initial assumptions about what this figure is from the pictures ended up coming true. So, taking a look at the box, you can obviously see the nice Transformers, the movie down here. And see the Astrotrain right there as well, Transformers Studio Series in general. Obviously see the nice artwork of Astrotrain in his shuttle mode, in his robot mode, as well as in his train mode. Then you obviously have the, all the steps and stuff like that. More nice artwork here on the side, and then more nice artwork here on this side. And obviously you can see how he appeared in the film. And then your obligatory product shot. So, when it comes to the box, I think, the standard Studio Series box, but I think they did a really good job with it, as per usual, folks. And so, without further ado, alrighty folks, here we have the Transformers Studio Series 86 Leader Class Astrotrain out of the box and in his train mode. So, when it comes to a triple changer, let's get this out of the way right now. With any triple changer throughout the years, we've always known as Transformers fans that there's always one mode out of any of these triple changers that always ends up taking the L, right? Always ends up being compromised for the sake of the others. With Blitzwing, for example, the most recent Blitzwing in Legacy, we saw that the jet mode was the most compromised, and obviously even with Astrotrain, the previous one, which was the Siege Astrotrain, that guy was compromised more or less in his shuttle mode as well. Unfortunately, with the Studio Series 86 Astrotrain, most people initially assume that the robot mode is the one that tends to be focused on because, well, that's the mode that most of us are going to display it in because that's obviously where the, love of the characters usually and generally lie. Here with this new one, unfortunately, I really do think that the mode you're looking at currently is the best mode that he's got. I really do think that the designers really went in with more focusing on his alt modes rather than his actual robot mode where it all kind of falls apart. But when we're taking a look at the actual train mode here, let's take a look at it in detail. The smoke stack or the smoke effect part is actually really cool. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's hollow on the inside. I don't mind that though. It actually looks really, really good. And the one thing I will like about this train mode a lot is that even though it's not 100% accurate to the show, I like this vibrant purple a lot better as it appeared in the movie. I think that there's just some of the details when you look at the movie and look at even the G1 cartoon model that are not the same as this. It's not 100% accurate, but I think, in my opinion, it's probably the closest to cartoon accuracy and movie accuracy that we've ever had in terms of an Astrotrain train mold to the G1 cartoon. Take a look at the details here. You can see there's a lot of nice details here across the board. You can see all those little rivets there. That looks really good. Decepticon logo looks great as well. Obviously, see all this other nice molded in detail across the side of the train. The nice painted yellow windows. And here on the back, you can obviously see the nice blast effect parts that we got with this guy attached to his actual boosters on the back of the train. And what's cool is about the train mode, you can also fold this down for the door, so all the Decepticons can file in to the cargo hold like they did at the end of the battle at Autobot City. You can fold that back up and those just peg in like so. But overall, when you're looking at this train mode, it looks really solid. Very, very clean. I really do like it. And for me, the other thing about this train mode, plastic quality is pretty good. And also, he feels pretty dense. There's nothing really I'd say about this train mode that I would say is egregiously terrible. Just not 100% accurate to the movie or the show. But it's like 80 or 90% of the way there. Again, it's just a few details here and there that aren't exactly correct. And I'd say technically the color isn't, but at the end of the day, I like the vibrant purple a lot. The other cool thing is the linkages work, but unfortunately, sometimes they just don't, but you can see they do work. It's just that depending on what surface you have it on, like if you do it on my hand, you can see them work. But here on this wood that I have for the, the review station, unfortunately that isn't the case. And sometimes even on my hand, sometimes these linkages just don't work. Like they work like 80% of the time, but if you don't have everything plugged in correctly onto this, they don't tend to like to you work very well. But other than that, let's take a look at the accessories in general. So again, the actual smoke effect part looks really cool. You can see the nice gradient here from the darker gray all the way to this white color and everything like that. So that looks pretty good. So when we remove this, it still looks really good. Like the train mode itself still looks great. Here is the cartoon accurate, or the toy accurate gun, which looks great. I really do like the paint, the molded in detail. Very simple but very clean. I really do like that. And those just peg in on the side. You have a 5mm port here, and then you have a 5mm port there, and then a 5mm peg and then port. And obviously you can just peg that in like so. And then you obviously also have the cartoon accurate gun, or the movie accurate gun, which does look nice, even though it's obviously a significant bit smaller. Decent molded in detail, nothing too crazy, but again, just pegs in here on the side. And then you do have your blast effect parts, which obviously just plug in here to the back as well. So you can see they just plug into those holes on the boosters. But these look nice as well. You can see they look great. I really do like them, and they work for, honestly, most of the Transformers in general. For the Decepticons, it's cool to have like purple or pinkish, magenta beam effect parts or blast effect parts to be able to use them. You can plug it onto the guns, but this one in particular, man, this is tough. Like, there we go. You can do it, but man, that's really difficult, and I don't like how that feels in particular. That kind of sucks, but again, you can just plug that in here. It's not a huge deal. Like that, and then just plug this in on the side. I also really do like that the accessories all integrate into the vehicle mode very nicely, and that's really, really cool. The only thing that doesn't in the shuttle mode is this one. But overall, when it comes to Astrotrain, I do think that the train mode is great. And so the one thing I'm going to do is that everyone is going to be asking, how does this compare alongside the Siege one? Because that's the last one we got. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to bring in the Siege one. And here's the Siege one, which I have. I do not have the DCS Siege one. I just have the regular Siege one, because I think that the gray on the DCS one is a little bit too bright for me. But at the end of the day, when it comes to this one, I mean, the train modes, I think, are just night and day. I just really like this one a lot better. I mean, you can see the color is probably a bit more accurate to the cartoon, but this is definitely more accurate to the movie in terms of the color. But again, I don't like how this train mode tapered off. I just did not like how it tapered off like this. I thought it looked really weird, and there's not that much definition in the wheels and anything like that. Like, sure, there's a lot of nice molded in detail here, but if you're just looking at these, I mean, it's nice that they have these jet boosters on the back as well, but I don't know, it's just, this train mode did not hit for me. I honestly did not like it. Even I have the tender, but it's buried underneath thousands of boxes of storage, so I'm sorry I can't get that out for you. But even with the tender, they're about the same size, but again, this guy feels more dense. I'm holding both of them. This guy just feels heftier and better in general than this guy. Although you'll see when we talk about this comparison more, you'll see where I'm coming from with other points. But overall, when it comes to the train mode for Astrotrain, I really do think that for the new Studio Series one, they did a fantastic job with it for the most part. Again, not 100% accurate, but I really like all the points that I went over in general. So what we're going to do is we are going to set this guy off to the side here, and we're going to do a bunch of size comparisons. First off, here he is with the Transformers Legacy United Infernac Universe Deluxe Class Magnus. As you can see, he's more or less a Voyager, a little bit bigger than the Voyager, around Voyager-ish size for Astrotrain. Obviously, Magnus being an average size Deluxe, he's got a pretty nice size on him for Astrotrain overall. I'm not too mad about it. So if you have the Siege one, you're obviously going to get an idea from the comparison I just made previous to this, but yeah. The Transformers Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class Bumblebee. The Transformers DCS Voyager Class Shockwave. The Transformers Studio Series 86 Voyager Class Thundercracker. His fellow triple changer, the Transformers Legacy, I think Evolution Leader Class Blitzwing, which, by the way, I'm going to tell you, I think this guy deserved a new mold too. The Transformers Studio Series 86 Leader Class Soundwave. The Transformers Studio Series 86 Commander Class Optimus Prime. And finally, the Transformers Studio Series 86 Leader Class Megatron. Alrighty, folks, time to get into his transformation into his shuttle mode, and it's really not all too bad. So, first things first, we're going to remove the guns. I like to remove them, even though you don't have to remove these. I'm going to also remove the blast effect parts from the jet boosters themselves. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to untab this and rotate it up. Then what you're going to want to do is start to fold these bits down, and then what I like to do is take these and start to untab them, just to untab them and get them out of the way, because it tends to be annoying to do this. So what you're going to do is you're going to rotate those down. You're going to untab them and rotate those down as well on this side. So do the same as you did like that. Then you're going to rotate this down a bit. You're going to fold this around, then you're going to rotate this section all the way up and around like that, and do the same thing here. Fold this down, then rotate this section all the way up like this. You're going to split this, and you're going to lift this up. You're going to bring this down, and what I like to do here is you're going to sort of bend this section, and you're going to pull out the landing gear, because you can't really pull it out when you actually have it fully transformed later. And then what you're supposed to be able to do is you're supposed to be able to pull out the fin here from the top, but unfortunately there we go, it's so difficult to pull it out of there. From here, what you can do is you're going to untab these sections, and you're going to sort of just rotate them up and out of the way just for the time being, just to get them out of the way so that you can do some more transformation here. Now what you're going to do is, this is like, you can see how the legs, what will become the legs, are sort of bent. You want to push this bit down and make them straight. And then from here, what you're going to do is you're just simply going to rotate this all the way around, and you're going to peg this into the bottom like so. And then from here, you're going to make sure that these sections kind of line up here. Then from here, you're going to take these sections and fold them down, and then you're going to rotate these around so that these can sit flush along here. And what you'll notice is that there are pegs right there, and those will peg into these peg holes here. So just do your best. You have to remember, push the legs down to be able to fit these correctly, and then you should be able to just peg these in right. And you can see one of the issues I have is that the bottom section does not like to stay pegged in very well. But this, rotate this around, and then you should be able to peg that in very nicely like this. Again, just try and, reattach those, and then all you have to do is fold this up, and then this tab hole, this peg, you can see how this all kind of lines up here. Just peg all this in, like so, on the side, like that. Let's see if this all lined up. There we go, like so. And then, well, once we plug in all of the blast effects here, like this, then you can plug in the guns on the sides again, like this, and like this. Ladies and gentlemen, here we have the Transformers Studio Series 86 Leader Class Astrotrain in his shuttle mode. And so when it comes to his shuttle mode, this is one of those situations where I think that they started to remedy one of the issues I really did have with the Siege one, but they didn't get it all the way. What I will say about this is it looks a little squat to me, and I think the major reason is because they didn't really tidy up the back. The one thing I hated about the Siege one was that back section, and after the Age of the Primes Blast-Off release, I was really hoping that if they did a Studio Series 86 Astrotrain, that they were going to be able to sort of remedy that fact and really cover this up. And even though they started to do it, especially in this little area with the train parts covering it up, at the end of the day, it still looks really messy back here. It does not look all that great. Even though I do think that the proportions are okay, I think he's a little more squat than he needs to be, but I think that they were aiming more for a traditional, like, space shuttle proportion. It still looks really messy. Don't get me wrong, I think that the colors work. I really like the Decepticon logo right there. The paint also works here. The blue on the windshield and everything like that. The yellow and the red is obviously very accurate. But when I'm looking at the actual model, it just, like in the animation, it just looks really weird to me. Oh, and also, I'm sorry, I forgot. You fold these back as well, so I apologize for that. You do fold those back, so my apologies for missing that. But yes, like, the other issue I do have is if you look closely, my wings, this wing does not like sticking down. If I do this, look, it just, and even if I did it midair, watch what I do in midair. So I do this, and then watch. You just, yeah, see, it's like, with a car door, how you have, like, 3 or 4 stopping points. That's what this feels like, and I know that this was a factory thing, and there's something wrong with that pin in there, but, like, yeah, that kind of sucks. So, although I think the shuttle mode is an improvement over the Siege one, they still didn't fix this little area here. Again, the details are really nice. I mean, you can see all the Decepticon logos, all the other molded in detail, but yeah, you can see, like, it just looks still messy, and this actually rolls pretty well. But the other issue I have is because of the way the landing gear is done, if you want to fold it up fully, you have to, like, untab this whole section and fold these up, like, why was it integrated like this? Like, that's one thing that annoys me, but what are you going to do, I guess? So, what we're going to do is, because I want to compare this to the Siege one, and we'll talk about it, we're going to bring in the Siege one here in a second. And here is the Siege one, and you can see what I mean. Like, it looks like that they started to fix, like, the, this being covered up on the new Shuttle mode. Because when you look at this one, this just looks like, I'm gonna be frank with you, this looks like shit. Like, it looks really bad. I do not like how this looks at all. It looks like, again, you took, like, this chunk that should have also been here and then just removed it, and there's all the exposed wiring and whatever underneath what the actual shuttle would be. It looks really bad. I'm not a fan of this. It does not look good. Even back then, I didn't like it, and I like it even less now, so it does suck. But like I told you, you can see where they, like, started to improve it, where it does, in my opinion, still look better than this. But at the end of the day, this still isn't perfect. Like, it's still not covered up fully. It's still not, flush or anything like that. And we'll talk about this more as we get into the conclusion of the figure as a whole. But yeah, you can see where I'm coming from. Just not a fan of how that looks, even though that this is better than this, but this is still not perfect. So what we're going to do is we are going to put Astrotrain off to the side there, and we're going to bring in the other figures here. Here he is with the Transformers Legacy United Infernac Universe Deluxe Class Magnius, the Transformers Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class Bumblebee, the Transformers Dramatic Capture Series DCS Voyager Class Shockwave, the Transformers Studio Series 86 Voyager Class Thundercracker, the Transformers Legacy or Legacy Evolution Leader Class Blitzwing, the Transformers Studio Series 86 Leader Class Soundwave, the Transformers Studio Series 86 Commander Class Optimus Prime, and finally, the Transformers Studio Series 86 Leader Class Megatron. And so, guys, getting into the transformation for his robot mode, it's surprisingly simple. Like, it's not ridiculously simple, but it's simple enough to where, in a way, I'm kind of disappointed by how simplistic it is, in reference to what we've been, sorry about that, and what we've been getting with Studio Series in general. So, for Studio Series 86, we're going to remove the guns, remove the blast effect pieces. What you can do here is you can then, take this entire section, unpeg it, like this, rotate this all the way back like so, and then you can unpeg it and rotate these down like so. Then from here you can fold these sections up for the landing gear. You can unpeg these sections and sort of rotate them up for the time being. Split the legs here, what will become the legs. Then you can accordion these sections down, and then these sections, these tabs will tab into these holes right here like this. Then from here you can take the feet and then you can rotate them down or accordion them down like so. And then from here you can just do the same. So do the same on this side like this. Then take the foot here on the back, and then you can accordion it down like so. And then from here, what you're going to do, I always kind of mess this up, but I think you folded it like this, and then these sections here will tab. Let me see. I always screw this up. Like the one part of the transformation always messes me up. Yep, you rotate them like so, and then what you'll see is there's a tab right there, and that'll go into that tab right there. And you gotta line this up well with the stupid linkages. The linkage gets in the way, and that's one thing I don't get. That was a design oversight in my opinion. Like that. And then do the same thing on this side. I hate that part. That's so annoying to me. And then like that. And then you essentially have the bottom half already finished. So from here, what you're gonna do is we are going to raise the camera up because, well, gotta show what's up here, right? You're going to take the section, fold it, you're going to split the section, then you're going to rotate this all the way into the chest like so, fold these bits down like so, rotate this all the way around for both of the arms, take this section, rotate it all the way around, and then you can peg it in like this. Then you can take this section, fold out the head, rotate this down and around, and then this will all peg in like so, and then you can just sort of line this all up like that, like this. And then from here, you're going to fold these bits down. You're going to rotate these sections here, then rotate the fist like that. Do the same thing here, and these refuse to stay pegged in. What you're going to do is rotate that there, and then rotate this here. And then, well, ladies and gentlemen, here we have the Transformers Studio Series 86 Leader Class Astrotrain in his robot mode. We're going to set this guy off to the side here. We're going to put a picture of how he appeared in the show and even in the movie if I can. This is where this figure starts to fall apart for me. You know, in the photos, he really did look spindly and lanky and everything like that. But I'll admit, I gave it the benefit of the doubt because I was like, maybe it's just the photos, maybe it'll look better in hand. And I'll tell you this right now, this really doesn't look that much better in hand, if not arguably worse. He looks really unfinished. He looks very like a rush job. And again, I love Mark, love Evan, love Sam. These guys are great. But I think that this is one of their biggest misses in my opinion. One of the things that really annoys me about this robot mode is the fact that they made the abdomen area, or at least the good chunk of the torso, out of unpaintable plastic. And the reason that makes me so annoyed is because you can see that his abs are molded in, but they're not painted. And I was hoping for that splash of color because at the end of the day, one of the splashes of color besides his wings for Astrotrain's robot mode has always been his red and purple abs. For him to not have those is a real shame. And of all things to make unpaintable plastic, you make the torso the unpaintable part where there should have been some contrast to break up the color to give us color separation. It's so sad that that was the case. The other thing too is everyone is talking about the arms, and honestly, even from the photos initially, I was giving it the benefit of the doubt like I said before. But here, I wholeheartedly agree with everyone saying that the arms are just too small. Shoulders are too small, arms look too small, and because the hands are quite large, it makes him look weird. In addition to that, I do like the feature here where you have the ability to give him the toy chest. Like, that is a cool feature that you can do. Like, you can do that, and then he has the toy chest. But then you get this gaping hole, and in addition to that, because of that, I really do think that they just made the torso too tall to accommodate this feature. And I'll be honest with you, I could have gone without this feature. This feature really didn't matter to me at all. I didn't care that he has this feature. It's cool that they added it, but I think it compromised the torso because the torso looks too tall, and even the legs look a little too tall because they're so lanky. In addition to that, these absolute pieces of garbage, stupid train wheels, refuse to stay pegged in very well here. I can't tell if the tabs on these are too thin or if the tab holes are too wide, but it just doesn't feel good. Also, these don't like staying pegged in at all. Look at that. Like, no effort. I can unpeg those. Those are awful. Also, mine is also a little bit back heavy too, so the ankles aren't great. So this guy tends to tip back unless you chicken leg him, and that's really unfortunate. But yeah, the only couple of things I'll say about this robot mode that I really do like, the head sculpt as well as the grays and the colors. In addition, I really like the colors they went with this guy. That's the one thing for me that really pops with this figure and stands out a ton from the Siege one, is that they were able to bring out a lot of these bright colors, and I really like that aesthetic, especially you can see it with Thundercracker. I really like that. Taking a look at the head sculpt, that is an amazing head sculpt. That looks so good. The red eyes, the white face, the yellow, the purple, the sculpted in detail. It looks really, really good. But yeah, I mean, coming down here, you can see hole. And by the way, this is how they had it transformed, right? They had it transformed like this in the original product shots. Which honestly, it kind of looks okay because it gives them color separation. And there's the abs, you can see them. They're not painted at all. Annoys me. Side skirts. I mean, the detail is there. But the other thing, too, I'd like to point out is this. This looks like a mess to me. I was comparing him to Optimus yesterday, and I was like, yeah, Optimus has a backpack, but they were really able to compress Optimus very, very well. With this guy, man, that just doesn't look all that good. And then you look at the back of his legs, they're also just a mess. Man, the robot mode is just very disappointing at the end of the day. The fact that the pegs are on the front, too, those are ugly as hell. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I want to be positive, and you guys know me. If you know me, I very rarely rate anything super low or have this much negative to say about it, but I'm just not that big of a fan, especially because the wings don't like to stay straight all the time because of those pins. I don't know what it is with those pins. But yeah, what we're going to do real quick is I'll bring in the Siege one so you guys can see the comparison. The one thing I'll talk about while I'm even transforming the Siege one is that I really do like the fact that he's bigger. However, I still think he's a little too small. And that is quite unfortunate because, well, I was really hoping that they were going to nail the size on this guy. But he's still a little too short in my opinion. He's a triple changer. In my opinion, the original cartoon, he should have been just as big as just as big as Jetfire, but obviously that's besides the point. What I'm saying here is that being a triple changer, he's got a lot of, like he's just a big character, and so for me, I really think that he should just no more be less than like a quarter of a head shorter than Megatron, but he's like half a head shorter than Megatron, and it makes him look like super super tiny by comparison, and I do not like that. And so in that time frame, by the way, I was able to really just very easily transform the Siege one. And so what we're gonna do is here, I think I got him just right. So when we bring in the Siege one here, like look at this. I mean, I just think that they did the cleanup really well here. Like they cleaned this guy up a lot really well. You can fold these like this if you want to. I actually, yeah, that's actually how it should be. But yeah, you can see like they just kind of did the proportions better. I mean, look at the arms. Even his arms, this figure is almost 10 years old at this point, are thicker than this guy's. He just looks more chunky and robust, which is how Astrotrain just looked in the show in general. And so when I look at these two side by side, the one thing that pisses me off about the Siege one is how tiny he is. And he was already tiny before. Don't tell me, oh, he's only tiny now because they increased the Studio Series 86. No, he was small before. He was shorter than Megatron, the Earthrise Megatron. So don't tell me that he was too tiny. I mean, too tiny just because of the scale increase. No, he was already too tiny before. That's why they had to give him the moon shoes. Let's be real here. In the tender that he came with. But at the end of the day, his abdomen's painted, just gives him a nice splash of color, man. I mean, I think they just did the robot mode just better in terms of the proportions and how he looks in the Siege one. Even with the smoothness and how I do like the colors that pop here, you can see how they just did this better, in my opinion. And so, yeah, you can see, I think out of the robot modes, absolutely the Siege one takes the cake in terms of how it actually looks. So, what we're going to be doing is we're going to take this guy out, because obviously I want to compare the Siege one, because, that's the most direct comparison that we're going to be getting. And what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be bringing in the other figures here. So everybody get ready for pretty much every other figure that you've seen thus far, just increasing the height a little bit so that we can get, a little bit of extra height in general for the taller characters. Alrighty folks, here he is with the Transformers Legacy United Infernac Universe Deluxe Class Magnus, the Transformers Studio Series 86 Deluxe Class Bumblebee, the Transformers DCS Siege Voyager Class Shockwave, the Transformers Studio Series 86 Voyager Class Thundercracker, the Transformers Legacy Leader Class Blitzwing, and this is a reason why I do think that Blitzwing deserved a new mold. These two should be eye to eye, and the fact that they're not going to be anymore because Blitzwing doesn't have his own mold is a real shame. The Transformers Studio Series 86 Leader Class Soundwave, and this is where I still think that Astrotrain here should just be a smidge taller than Soundwave. Again, color me crazy, I think he should still be a bit bigger, and I agree that Blitzwing should also be the same size as Astrotrain. The Transformers Studio Series 86 Commander Class Optimus Prime. And finally, his leader, Transformers Studio Series 86 Leader Class Megatron. And like I told you, I really think that he should be like this. I really think he should just be like that. Like, color me crazy, I really do think he should nearly be eye to eye with Megatron. I know, you may think that I'm a bit crazy for that, but I genuinely think that he should be like that. Alrighty guys, and now what we can do is I'll just show you, you can plug in the guns, like so, and then you can obviously plug in the blast effect if you wish to do so like this, right? You can plug that into the gun like that, and then obviously, very similar to that, you can also plug in the other gun as well right here. And then the other thing too is that they do store here, so they can store on these side pegs just like they did in the vehicle mode. You can see those on the back. But yeah, so when it comes to the accessory integration, it's fine. You can also plug in the smoke effect if you really do want to. And so there's that. So we'll get into the articulation, which at the end of the day, when it comes to the articulation, unfortunately, because of kind of how Kibbly he is, he's kind of encumbered. And so heads on a ball joint, you can look like that much up and down, a little bit of side to side, full 360 here. We can't really look up and down all that much. Full 360 at the shoulders. Unfortunately, the wings block that out and in. Double jointed elbows, so you do get a really nice bend. We're going to remove the gun for the time being. Rotation here at the upper part of the bicep, and then you do have wrist articulation, and you do have opening and closing hands. You have a waist articulation joint, but unfortunately, just like Thundercracker, even though it's there, it's not a full 360 because of the way that this is designed. The skirts flip up as well, forward, back. Nice tight joints there for the ratchets on the knee, rotation at the upper part of the thigh, and then ankle rocker pivot. Not that much though. So like I told you, it's really a product of him being kind of chunky and Kibbly that unfortunately makes his articulation Not all the best, even though he does move around pretty well still. Like it's not necessarily the best. Certainly not up necessarily to the standards, especially in this day and age when you consider like Megatron and Optimus Prime and stuff like that. So even Kranix as well for the Studio Series 86 line. So that's a bit unfortunate. Alrighty, folks, and now it is time to get into his reverse transformation. At the end of the day, it's really not too bad. So, coming here to the figure, what we're going to do is we're going to sort of straighten him all out here, like so. We're going to get him to his train mode, by the way, not going to go to, because I think that the train mode is the default one for me. We're going to collapse the legs together. We are going to straighten out the feet as well. Going to untab these and rotate them around. Then from here, you're going to take the chest, going to fold these bits up, and then you're going to accordion them back like so. Come here to the back, going to untab this, fold the head into that piece. Then from here, what we're going to do is we're going to sort of untab this and rotate this all the way around. The one thing I'd like to mention about this part that I haven't mentioned thus far, this friction peg is not on there very securely, and that is quite a shame. Take this section, you're going to fold these bits down. Then from here, what you're going to do is you're going to sort of compress everything here. You're going to accordion the top of what the legs were and accordion this back. Then from here, you're going to do is you're going to push this up like a section or two. And then from here, to do the arms, these are very weird. So to do the arms, you're going to rotate them all the way around so that this is facing the front, these two pins here. Then you're going to rotate the fists so that they're facing like so. Do the same thing here. So you're going to rotate this all the way around so that this part is facing the front. You're going to rotate the fist so that's facing like this. Then you're going to accordion these around like so. You're going to actually, well, you want to lift this up a little bit too. Put this here, and then what you'll see those two little grooves right there? You're going to fold this part into it. Then from here, you can sort of collapse everything like this. You're going to take these sections, you see those two tabs. Now fold those in like so. Then from here, you're going to rotate this all the way around, and then you should, by bending the legs, you have to bend these legs, by the way. You should hopefully have enough clearance to fold these bits down, and what you'll see is these little tab holes will go into these tabs here. If you've done it correctly, they should all sit flush as well. So if you need to, just do some bit of readjusting as well, because that certainly happened to me more often than I'd like to admit. Push it up just a little bit. Here, like that, like so. And then from here, what you're going to do is you're going to take these sections, you are going to rotate them, and then as you rotate them forward, you will fold them around like so. God, good lord. This part always, I still get super confused. Goodness. Okay, so you need to fold this down like so, and then what you need to do is you need to get these up like this. I always screw this up. Fold this around like this, and then fold these up, and then you can collapse all these pegs into these little holes here. Like that, and then like that as well. Then from here, like that, come on, there, like that as well. Then from here, what you're going to do is you're going to take these sections, you're going to rotate them down, fold this section out, and then this is where stuff likes to kind of come untabbed sometimes. Even though this is one of those figures where, you do the same on this side, where it feels put together, but at the same time, it doesn't feel all that put together. I mean, you can see that with the way that I'm moving it and transforming it. That'll peg, and then you can see those all peg like so, like that. Gotta tab those in like so. And then from here, the last thing you have to do is just rotate this thing down, and then you can collapse everything like that. And then if you want to attach everything, you can attach this here, and then this up top like so, like that. And then you can take the guns, you can attach them here, and I'll remove them. Attach the guns on each of the sides, like so. Then we'll plug in all of the blast effect parts. And well, ladies and gentlemen, here we have the Transformers Studio Series 86 Leader Class Astrotrain back in his train mode. Alrighty, folks, for my final and concluding thoughts on the Transformers Studio Series 86 Leader Class Astrotrain. Now, I have a fair bit to say about this figure, and so the conclusion is going to be a little bit different, very similar to Nexus Prime, so quick disclaimer, this might be a bit longer than usual, and I apologize for that. But I usually do the negatives, then I do the positives, and then I give you a score, and then I give you a recommendation. This time we're going to be doing the positives, the negatives, then we're going to be doing a score, and then a recommendation. At the end of the day, unfortunately, this is one of those figures where I do think that the negatives outweigh the positives, and it's a shame because if you know me, I'm a pretty positive reviewer, and I don't tend to rate things super low. But in this case, we need to talk about it. We need to get this knuckled down here. So, when it comes to the positives, let's talk about the train mode. Vibrant purple's really nice. The paint looks good overall. Decepticon logo looks great, and the molded in, sculpted in detail looks nice as well. Accessory storage is really nice, and I really do like the smoke effect part, and I love the blast effect parts as well. Those are really, really cool. In addition to that, I also think that the linkages is cool, and that they were able to make those work is really, really awesome. Definitely, in my opinion, the most accurate, close to cartoon Astrotrain train mode that we've seen in a long time. Also, he feels dense and really nice. Getting him to a shuttle mode really isn't all too bad. It's just that one part is so loose, that friction peg. But when you get into a shuttle mode, I think they did a massive improvement, in my opinion, over the Siege one. It looks more filled in the back, although not perfect. The proportions are pretty awkward, but I still think that they obviously went for a more realistic shuttle proportion when they went with it. The landing gear rolls pretty well. All the accessories still store very nicely, and it definitely does look more filled out in general compared to the Siege one, and it's an improvement. Now, getting him to his robot mode, however, it is fine. Like, it's not really that difficult, but that's like a double-edged sword, and we'll talk about that as we get into the negatives. When you get into his robot mode, the positives for me, the gray is really nice, the purple pops, the head sculpt looks great, and the joints, despite being having encumbered articulation, they're pretty tight, and he actually has really nice joints overall. The ratchets and the knees in particular are very, very nice. I also do like the fact that you have the option to give him the Fin G1 chest. That's really, really cool that they integrated that, and I do appreciate that. And again, I do think that his increased size is also nice too, because at the end of the day, the Siege one, even back then when it first released, was already too tiny. However, the negatives. The train mode, while good, is not 100% accurate. In addition to that, the linkages don't exactly like to be useful all of the time. And at the same time, getting him to his train mode, getting everything tabbed together can be a pain, because sometimes, even though the figure feels dense and solid, at sometimes it can also feel kind of like it doesn't want to tab into anything or anything like that. The transformation, while simple, that stupid friction peg is pretty loose, and I've pulled off the entire wing section and the train section multiple times while transforming this guy. Then the shuttle mode, unfortunately, the back is still not fully fixed. It looks messy. It still looks kibbly. The proportions look a bit squat to me. I really do think that he just looks a bit awkward, and the fact that you have to kind of untransform him to put his landing gear back in is really annoying, and I feel like that was kind of a little bit of a blunder on their part. And then getting him to his robot mode, unfortunately, despite the transformation not being that difficult, at the end of the day, I was expecting the engineering level to be closer to Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime or even Megatron, and that just isn't the case here. It's a little too simplistic for me. There's not really any ingenuity or anything, in my opinion, to this transformation, and that's quite a shame. Then you get him to his robot mode, and this is where everything kind of falls apart. He's got a lot of holes, he looks unfinished, the abdomen isn't painted, and the fact that the torso is made out of unpaintable plastic baffles me. Even in the shuttle mode, the wings don't like to stay straight or anything like that, and they don't like to stay straight here in general as well. His backpack looks so messy, like his upper torso looks messy. Even the back of his legs looks messy. My ankles are loose, and he doesn't like to stand the best all the time. You really have to chicken leg him to get him to stand straight. Despite the joints feeling nice and tight, at the end of the day, his articulation is encumbered. I also just don't like the fact that he looks kind of lanky and spindly. He should be buff and chunky, but he just doesn't look like that. I think he's very misproportioned. The torso looks too tall, which in addition, the legs look too skinny, which makes the legs look too tall. And so at the end of the day, even the panels on the front of the legs don't like to stay pegged in very well, and that's quite unfortunate. Getting him back to his train mode can be a little bit of a pain in the nuts too, because unfortunately those stupid the wheels on the front, man, those always confuse me. I mean, even to now, I've transformed this guy like 20 or 30 times since I've gotten him, and I'm still getting messed up on those moments. It's just really, really annoying. And so, When it comes down to the conclusion, I'd like to sum up this figure in 2 words: missed potential. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to a triple changer, and I agree with a lot of other reviewers on this point, you just cannot do a triple changer on a leader class budget these days. It's just not possible to get a triple changer that well done. And I really don't think that we needed to do this apology tour for the 86 movie where they're really pumping out the 86 movie characters, because I would have been more than okay with dragging Studio Series 86 out and just giving us characters as they see fit, when they see fit, and in addition to that, when the figures are just really good. I would have been more than willing to wait for a Commander class Astrotrain, a Commander class Blitzwing, but they really want to pump these out, and I don't get why. For me, I really do think, like a lot of other people, this would have worked so much better as a Commander class figure. I would have been more than willing to wait for them to give him the proper engineering, the proper accessories, the proper train mode, the proper shuttle mode, the proper robot mode in a Commander class price point with the proper paint in his abdomen, if they were to just given him a Commander class figure. I really do think that he would have been so much better in that place, because you may say, oh, they were able to do Megatron really well as a leader class. Why couldn't they do this? Megatron doesn't have 3 modes. In addition to that, because they weren't able to transform Megatron into a gun, they could focus more or less on his robot mode, period. Sure, they could obviously put some effort into the alt mode, which they did, but that clearly wasn't the focus. And it's not like his alt mode is bad. It's actually pretty solid. It's just that they were able to really focus on that robot mode, because he only has 2 modes. With a triple changer, you really need that Commander class price point to give him the proper engineering, to give these characters the proper, modes and everything like that. And here, when it comes to this figure, they really focused on the alt modes, and it feels like that the robot mode was the afterthought. And to me, when you're looking at this figure as a whole, there's a lot of things where I kind of think, with all due respect to the designers, Evan, Sam, and Mark, you guys are great, but I really do think that it was a boneheaded decision to kind of make him a commander and to make him a leader class figure. You just can't do it very well, and the fact that they focused on the alt modes instead of the robot mode is a real shame, because most people are going to have him in robot mode, and the robot mode here just doesn't do it for me. Even with the increased size and the better head sculpt and everything I've said, it doesn't do it for me. And the other thing too I'd like to talk about when it comes to this guy is the big point. Would you get this one, or would you get the Siege one? And here's what I'm going to say, and you might raise your pitchforks at me. I think that they are both side grades of one another. I think that this new Studio Series 86 Astrotrain got the plastic quality, the density, as well as the paint and the accessories better than the Siege one. Both of the alt modes are better, plastic quality is better, feels denser. It's just all around in terms of the alt modes, just better overall when it comes to this figure. However, I do think that the Siege one, despite his tiny size, still edges over in the robot mode by far. And if you had to put a GUN to my head and ask me which one should you think I should get, if you want to have this guy in robot mode, which I assume that 90% of people want, you will absolutely get the Siege one or the DCS one, regardless of how small he is. Don't get me wrong, his moon shoes, his moon boots are stupid, and there's still a bunch of issues, I think, with the Siege one that I'm not the biggest fan of. However, I do think in terms of robot mode, he is clearly the better robot mode out of the two, despite how small he actually is in comparison to the new, especially the new Studio Series 86 line. You may say, oh no, he only looks small because of the new increased line. No, he was already small back then. Again, like I said, smaller than the Earthrise one. And so from there, we're going to be giving this guy a score out of a 10. And I'd like to say, I'm going to be giving this guy a lower score than what I would have given the Siege one, despite me saying that I think that they're equal in terms of how good they are as Astrotrains. And the reason is because I think that the standard that we have set for Studio Series 86 has been high enough to the point where this figure falls flat of that standard. And so out of a 10, to me, this guy can get either a 4 or a 5, and unfortunately, that's where I'm going to leave it. Would I recommend this guy? Absolutely not for full price. For a big sale? For sure. I do think that the alt modes are really nice, and if I'm going to display this guy, I might realistically just end up displaying him in his alt modes instead of his robot mode, which is one of the firsts for me because of that very fact. The only other ones I'd say are like the Dinobots, but I just like them in their dinosaur forms, but like not the 86 ones or the G1 ones, like some of the like the live action ones. But regardless, I would not recommend this guy at full price whatsoever. So that is where I'm left at with this guy. Again, in my opinion, at the end of the day, this figure is 2 words, and that is missed potential. So what are you going to do? Sometimes they're hits and sometimes they're misses. My last thing I'd like to say before we get into my outro and everything like that is this. guys, at the end of the day, I know I've talked about this in the review and everything like that, but I'm a reviewer, so I have to, look at it from that lens. But realistically, this is just a toy. It's just a piece of plastic. And so, just like Emgo was saying in his review, I want to echo this to a lot of people. We just, it's just a figure. In the grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of life, this really isn't all that bad. We don't need to be this, I guess like aggressive or I don't know, demanding of this because, in the grand scheme of life, it's not that big of a deal. Is it immune to criticism? Absolutely not. With any product that any company releases, it is not immune to any criticism whatsoever. But we don't need to be sending the designers hate. We don't need to be sending them insults. Just please, like, have some human decency in that regard, right? Don't send them hate. Obviously, express your feelings on it, but don't even be necessarily super insulting or anything like that. I don't think that there needs to be any, like, just derogatory insults thrown at these designers or anything like that. Again, I've criticized it. I think I've criticized it fairly enough without trying to sound, super overly aggressive or anything like that. I think I've done a pretty good job at that. But overall, yeah, that's where I'm going to leave that. So I did pick mine up IRL, actually. So if you are hunting IRL, I picked mine up at my local Walmart like literally just about a week ago. So if you want to, definitely be on the lookout here in the U.S. at your local Walmart. That's where they are restocking this guy. In addition to that, if you are in a different country, I'll say just look at a retailer equivalent to a Walmart and you might find this guy sitting on the shelf. If you do want to pick this guy up online, however, I did have mine pre-ordered on Big Bad Toy Store, so leave a link in the description of that. Also leave links down below Hasbro Pulse as well as Amazon if you guys wish to use those retailers instead of Hasbro Pulse, Amazon, or Hasbro Pulse or Big Bad Toy Store. So with that all out of the way, guys, that is the end of the review. So I thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, comment, rate, and subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Also follow me on the socials. Those will be linked in the description below. And with that, guys, and once again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video review, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.